Hardy convicted for assaulting his girlfriend. All right, so how many more skeletons are there in this closet that the NFL has kept closed for so long? Joining us now to discuss this is sports attorney Anthony Caruso, sports editor for the dailynational.com Mike Baco, and sports public relations consultant Crystal Howard. So nice to have all of you on there. So the latest black eye, I don't know. I'm going to talk with you, Crystal. All right. So what did you think about that? Headbutting? Didn't Chad Ochocinco, he played for the Dolphins. The Dolphins,
alleged, yeah.
Yes, alleged, but it was a similar thing.
With Evelyn, yes. I can see the action happening, and I don't need the video. I can feel what that felt like. And so it's disheartening. I know players on the Cardinals, and to think that this is a part of their environment just saddens me.
I want to read some numbers to you guys, and I want you to react to these numbers because they really are pretty staggering. We have a graphic here, and it has them all for you. When you look overall, almost 80 complaints or cases in domestic abuse. All right. 80 cases reported since 2000. 25 of the cases were dropped. 20, no resolution. 36, action was taken. And of those 36, 6 players were cut. The rest were disciplined with fines or suspensions. Do those numbers sound okay to you,
Mike?
Crystal?
It's definitely not okay. And what's not taken into account there is why this Dwyer case came to be in the first place, because of a text message of a knife contemplating suicide. Makes you think back 2 years ago to Kansas City defensive player Javon Belcher. Oh, yeah. Killing his girlfriend and then committing suicide in the parking lot of the team facility. That's where this Dwyer case potentially was going. That's why his girlfriend went to the police. These are things that, whether it's systemic in the NFL or just a microcosm of what's going on in real life, it's something that the NFL needs to address because we're talking about it. We're seeing it week after week after week.
The numbers are overwhelming. I mean, we saw the list of the numbers. What I want to know is, like, there's a legal component that we have to look at as well, right? And then there was also this component that the NFL, the watershed is flowing and overflowing at this point.
The numbers can mean different things to different people.
Okay.
It depends how you look at it. There are statistics out there that say that the numbers in the NFL are less than overall society when it comes to domestic violence. So which angle are we looking at this?
But listen, these guys are paid lots of money, millions and millions of dollars to go out there and do the job that they have to do. And it's a job. Remember, it's playing on the field.
It's not an excuse. All I'm saying is that let's not focus just on the NFL. This is happening throughout society. It's probably happening less per capita in the NFL than society itself, but there is a problem.
But the numbers that you really need to look at, while those are daunting and very troubling, it's the dollars and cents. The Vikings did not put Adrian Peterson on this list until Radisson pulled their money.
So who's in control here?
The sponsors.
That's always the case.
You heard it in the press conference with the Vikings. 22 times they mentioned their sponsors. Radisson pulling out, talking about Budweiser going on the record. Nike talking about endangering the welfare of children. Nike being the moral authority on that. That's where the numbers are really speaking.
The backtracking was astounding. I mean, from Monday to where we are now, it was so amazing how quickly they backtracked.
But Nike had to be swift as well because they took some time on Ray Rice and they needed to do something more significant with Adrian and swiftly with Adrian. He is such a huge player for them. They had to make a real decisive role.
But who's in charge here? Roger Goodell has been radio silent. I mean, like, where is he? He's nowhere to be found. He's not saying anything. The owners are taking the lead role here, protecting the franchise. Don't you think that's a real big about-face cut?
The commissioner's in charge. He's decided not to be on the front lines, but believe me, he is talking to the team owners. He's talking to the coaches. He's still in charge, but he's trying to do a different PR approach because he bumbled it in the beginning, and he missed it.
Okay, speaking of PR,
he needs to be quiet.
I want to ask you, if you get a call right after this, ring, 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 it's the NFL, help us, what should we do? What would you tell them to do to fix all of this?
They have to make a real decisive statement, and it has to be big, and it has to be loud, and it has to be sincere.
Big, loud, like firing Roger Goodell loud?
If it was a regular work environment, that would be considered. If he was the CEO of a average company, that would certainly be considered with all of the incidents.
There is popular thought that's saying this is a witch hunt that's going on right here. What do you guys feel about that?
This is going now beyond Goodell. Goodell isn't even really the story anymore. The story is what the focus of this story should be on, is the repeated acts of violence. So at this point now, it's wringing your hands and saying another player. This has gone beyond Goodell. This is almost out of his hands. The punishment should be in his hands, and how the education will happen with the owners, with the players, trying to eradicate this. But it's not about what they're going to do to Goodell now.
I think this has been pervasive in the NFL, and you've seen many women that have come out that have been married to NFL players talk about this, how it's been brushed under the carpet, how it has been handled. Now it's bigger because of the video of Ray Rice that's kind of opened up this big chasm that we're all talking about it today. But I feel like sometimes some people think that this is a witch hunt. Like, they need help, obviously. What they did is wrong, obviously. But we need to help these men who come from different situations, who get thrust into the spotlight, who dealing with millions of dollars, sponsorships,
100%.
all of that stuff needs to be addressed.
100%. And what I would say is, and you see this even when athletes transition into the professional world, they are not trained. The life skills that an average person gets, a lot of times they do not get. There is not a lot invested into who they are more than what they do. And so I think there's a lot of room for that.
The story that was not covered by everyone, is that last week the NFL and a health organization put out a study that said 3 out of 10 players after they retire within 15 years will have some form of dementia. So whatever is going on in the NFL right now, this is something that you need to put a focus on. Is this leading to some of the actions off the field? You're talking about education for when they go into the workforce. Are these players even going to be able to go into the workforce after playing in the NFL?
This is actually part of a much bigger story. You see these guys that come out with money, then they lose their money. Dementia, as you mentioned. I mean, this is part of a bigger story, and we got to really have a broader conversation about this. But guys, we want to thank you all so much for coming in and giving us your perspective on this issue. It's not over. It's going to keep on going, and we should tell you, we're going to give you up-to-the-minute updates here on PIX 11 as this scandal continues.